people in the creative industry know the dangers of drug use and abuse. And maybe you missed out on the premieres. This is the documentary addressing drug use and abuse among creators in the industry. Take a listen.
The more them get it, the more them want it.
When you get on any drug, it can give you some amazing energy and some creative geniuses that just boost you like this.
Talking about hard drugs.
Anytime that anyone uses any of these drugs or substances of abuse, the brain itself gets affected.
Talking about hard drugs.
Creatives, their brain never rests. They are inquisitive. They want to unfold or uncover, release things that somebody will be like, wow, how did he get to that frequency?
And when they stand on stage, they mesmerize us.
Talking about hard drugs. The more they get it, they still want more. The more them get it, the more them want it.
At one point in time, I left my comfort zone, my abode, and I came to Medina Ghetto. And I fraternized with rocks and wolves. I became a night owl, always on a wild goose chase. And sometimes making 3 square meters a day seems difficult and almost impossible for me.
This is Noah King, a presenter who once worked with a popular radio station in Accra in the early 2000s. Noah's exceptional presentation skills earned him a lot of admirers. But his promising radio career was truncated when he was plunged into an abyss of drug addiction. Noah King tells me that he started using drugs before he got into the media space. However, he says the situation got worse when he traveled with some musicians for a concert in Tamale. That was when he was introduced to more dangerous drugs.
After advanced level, I was at home doing nothing, and my father, had this koinonia with the musicians. He rolls with them, and then the Kokumba Nanumba war erupted. So the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana Police Service, the National Security Apparatus thought that it was prudent on your part to organize a peace concert dubbed Operation Gongo in the 3 northern regions so as to forestall peace in the environs. So apparently, my father having, this koinonia with most musicians told one that, yes, I want my son to join you guys so that he can familiarize himself since he's at home doing nothing. So we're airlifted here from Accra to Tamale. When we go to Tamale, the hotel that we were put up, I saw things that were alien to me, things that were foreign to me, things that I never knew anything about, though I had experimented cannabis sativa way back in college, way back in, during my secondary school days. So this time I realized that these things were foreign, and then one guy who was with me, whose name is Kofi, well, he was pointing to me, this is crack, this, what are you doing is cappuccinos, this is cocktail. And what he's holding is a bunker.
Noah King's curiosity fueled his woes. He was convinced that the source of the assertiveness and the energetic performances of the musicians was drugs.
So when I saw them do that, I said, okay, then this is what gets them euphoric. And when they stand on stage, they mesmerize us. And I said, okay, fine. So when they were done with all that they were doing that very night, we were called upon to clear the residue. and myself and Kofi chanced upon a couple of freebase. When I say freebase, I mean crack on the table and some on the floor. So we took them, and Kofi knows much into it, and therefore he fixed the crack, and he took a hit. And he asked me too. I said, yes, I want to try it, because if this is giving them the euphoric and the energy and the drive, then I think it's a good thing. And I tried it, and trust me, I was like a moonraker. I saw myself like an angel suspended in the air.
When they returned to Accra from their concerts in the northern region, Noah could not free himself from the shackles of his newfound love. He spent his money on different types of drugs, including those that would enhance his sexual potency.
So from the experimental stage, I moved to the recreational stage. Apparently, I was getting tuition from them. This will actually let you perform well in bed and all that. And trust me, when I tried it, I realized that it was. But one thing about drug is this: when diminishing returns set in, you will get to understand that no, you're going down on bended knees, and even you wouldn't get erection, let alone ejaculation. Yeah.
The drug addiction had a toll on Noah's work. He would rather spend time in the hazy stupor of his drugs than go to work. Eventually, he was sacked.
It got to a point in time, instead of me going on air, I wouldn't go. I would say, Mufti Dabri, Najib, it is a good play for me. So it got to a point in time, despite says, no, it seems this guy has lost it, has lost focus. And apparently I was relieved of my duties.
Not only did Noah King lose his job, he also lost his family and resorted to sleeping in slums.
One day I went to town, and then before I came back, she packed bag and baggages and left unceremoniously with a young chap, Jaden, and they left. And when I came, I said, oh yes, beautiful. I love it that you guys went. Wow. Reasons being that the little that I have, I can use it to satisfy myself again.
But Noah King is not the only Ghanaian creative that has suffered the scourge of drug addiction. Kiki Jan, Timothy Bentum, O.J. Black, Nasty, Lord Kenya, Okonfo Kwade, Sugar Tone, and Red Eye of Too Tough fame have been in this situation. While some are able to overcome it, the addiction knocks others into penury and, in extreme cases, death. But the big question is, which drugs are commonly abused? Dr. Julius Hatcher, a psychiatrist and clinical coordinator of the Pantan Hospital, tells me more.
Commonly, what we are seeing, and the most common substance all around the world, is alcohol. Alcohol is a very, very toxic drug. Unfortunately, it's among all of them the most legal and illicit of the drugs. Yes. Whenever you see adverts on TV about liquor or inhibitors containing alcohol, they say 18 years and above, but who really checks for ID cards whenever alcohol is being purchased? So alcohol still continues to remain the most predominantly used substance or drug for that matter. Cannabis comes soon after that in our setting, where people use and are able to get at very cheap prices, 2 cedis, 5 cedis, and they are good to go. They still enjoy their high. And then you have the cigarettes or the nicotines around.
This is the Chosen Rehab Center, a facility that offers help to mentally challenged individuals. This was where Red Eye of Too Tough fame, after battling drug addiction in 2023, got relief. The use of drugs is one big problem bedeviling the creative industry. A lot of creatives the world over have lost their lives, their sanity, and their livelihood through drugs. But what really pushes them into this act? Let's find out. The center has a music recording studio, a computer lab, a gym, and an open area suitable for prayer meetings. The Chief Executive Officer of Chosen Rehab Center, Apostle Daniel Kobe Washington, tells me about some of the things that drive creatives into drug use.
Because the brain never rests. Creatives, their brain never rests. They are inquisitive. They want to know more. They want to unfold or uncover, release things that somebody will be like, wow, how did he get to that frequency? How did he get this song? How did he come up with this movie? How did he write that book? You know, because the normal thing is, it doesn't give nobody an high. Something that is common, nobody wants to fall for it. But you want to come up with something different. And that is why they start experimental abuse or drugs. Let me do some weed. Let me do some alcohol. They have the different ways to do it. But the weed is known that it's supposed to broaden or open them up.
According to satirist Kweku Sintim Misa, popularly known as KSM, the biggest push for drug use among talents in the creative industry is the ability of the drugs to evoke wild creative ideas.
They tell you that drugs will enlarge your creative horizon. There are so many things that you can create and do that under normal circumstances you will not be able to. And surprisingly, there's some truth to it.
For most people who use illicit drugs, they start as children or teenagers. The late Lynx Entertainment signee O.J. Black is one of those who got trapped in the act when he was but a little boy.
I started smoking when I was very young, very, very little. I started at the age of 11.
11 years?
Yes.
Who introduced you?
No one.
How did it happen?
So I was in a boarding house, and sometimes you see the security, what we used to call watchmen.
Yeah.
Smoking around, seated in their jackets, smoking, and I was talking to one of my friends who was like, hey Charlie, you see the way this food is smoked, you know? It was like, oh, you go feed smoking. And that was how it started.
I want to sing for the world, sing for my country.
Good, good.
So if I sing and you don't pay me, I don't lose. If you know what you are doing and what the talent is and what it's worth, it's not what the peanut the person is going to give you.
Good. Nasty, a former member of the Lifetime Family Music Group, tells me that his relationship with drugs was birthed during his time in Adisadel College. Little did he know that what made him high for a moment would ruin his life forever.
This whole thing started in school. You understand? This whole drug thing started in school. I said it, and then Adisadel guys say me, sell you out. And I'm trying to say about my life story. The Adisadel guys are telling me that because I went to Adisadel, I'm selling Adisadel college guys out. But I'm not gonna lie. I started these drugs around at the year 19. I was a little kid. I was a little bit stubborn because Charlie, right now you need something strong. I don't worry. So far as my motive is to stop drugs, I don't want any drug conversation because right now, I'm trying to say no to it more than going to rehab, or they should tight me. They don't want me. You understand? Say no to it. You have the money in your pocket. You say no. You won't buy it. That is real rehab.
Dr. Julius Hatche says drugs impede the normal functioning of the brain.
The whole concept or the whole idea of drug is that it has got a biological basis. Addiction now demonstrates a biological basis, making it clear that any time that anyone uses any of these drugs or substances of abuse, the brain itself gets affected. It halts the maturation of the brain, and to some extent it even causes the brain's maturation to regress. So certain social skills that you would expect that a person will acquire at a certain stage, because of the use of drug, they may not gain or acquire it.
That notwithstanding, The general perception that drugs boost the confidence of creatives is rife among entertainers. Although Noah King agrees with this notion, he cautions that the consequences are dire.
On the prelims, you would do better. Because you know, you can imagine when you are behind the turntable and being highly spirited and the music is going on, and you want to scratch, you want to do this, you talk, you get to the euphoria. So I always have the intuition that no, when I don't get high, I can't perform that well. But it will get to a stage and time where you will no longer use the drug for your work, but the drug will be using you.
For entertainers who depend on drugs for their creative activities, KSM, who admits to attempting drugs in the past, advises that the future is bleak. According to the venerated comedian, people who create works of art without external aids like drugs are usually more successful.
When you get on any drug, it can give you some amazing energy and some creative geniuses that can just boost you like this. You know?
Speaking from personal experience.
Can I finish?
Okay, finish.
That can give you the boost. However, trust me, if you rely on your natural and you give yourself enough time, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. The deception is that one gives you an immediate thing that you can do, and you think, oh, this is it, this is the way out. But the more you do it, the more at the same time it destroys that capacity. So you can be the greatest creative and everything, but later on you realize that it brings you down again very, very, very fast. So my advice is don't depend on any external high to get creative, because it will give you just that boost. But you can't depend on that boost. Now the other question:
Did you ever try it? Any of those drugs?
I tried something. I tried something. Very, very minimal thing to test it. Actually, honestly, I did it. Say, okay, let me see how best it can help me to be creative. And the ideas that I got were all very, very wild. And to me, wow, this thing is amazing. It can give you ideas and things. But then once it starts dying down, then I realize these were not wild ideas. These were stupid things. Yeah. But at that time, you don't care. You think it's, So for me, it doesn't work. And I think creatives, I believe in what they call the natural high.
Okay.
I believe in what they call the natural high. Creatives who stay natural and depend on the natural high are always more successful, and they have longevity than those who depend on the quick high thing. Yeah.
We pray in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.
At the Chosen Rehab Center, Apostle Washington reveals a lot of the people who are brought to his facility for treatment are those who have artistic capabilities, a reason he decided to build a music studio at the premises.
We see that almost 50% of the people that comes in are musically inclined.
Oh, okay.
So either they sing or they rap, or some might say they play drums. So we realize that if we're having a lot of these people, then we need to put in the studio. And God being so good, my background is production. It's because I'm a Grammy-nominated producer in Sweden. So it was easy for me to put together the studio and to teach music lessons and music classes and how to beat making and all of that.
So you personally teach music?
I teach, yeah.
And you have others who help you to do that?
Well. So I've trained a lot of guys. So the guys that you are seeing in the studios over there, they have been taught softwares like Pro Tools, Studio One, Logic, so they can use all these things and make their beats. And production helps because you need some kind of concentration, and if you are able to put the tones together, there's a certain high in it.
Wow.
So that can replace the highness for the drugs that you were feeling for.
For those who find themselves in this situation, all hope is not lost. Dr. Hache suggests ways to help people get out of drug use and its addiction.
In helping people who are into drugs or substance abuse, we have various strategies and approaches, and it's easier when you have the person you are dealing with appreciating the fact that they have a problem that needs to be treated, for that matter. Unfortunately, quite a number of the people who have substance use disorders or addiction issues do not even consider it as a problem until they may hit rock bottom. But once they do, what we do is that we have a process whereby we assess them, because drugs, like I have mentioned or alluded to in the past, have a myriad effect on the human being, and they may have a physical condition that is associated with the drug use. So they need a thorough medical examination, a thorough psychiatric examination, so that we identify some of the underlying medical conditions, some of the underlying psychiatric conditions. Then we can target treatment at them and probably focus subsequently on the drug use.
So, before you think about engaging in drugs to boost your creativity or for other recreational purposes, consider the harking effect it could have on your health, your finances, your family, and the community. Kwame Dadzie, Joy News. Joy 99.7 FM, so you just heard the documentary Creative Addictions, and that is the basis for our discussion today, finding remedies for drug addicts in showbiz. Before we get into the discussion, Mike Kessie is here with Sweet Jesus. Mike Kessie telling his story in the song Sweet Jesus, but he has a bigger story to tell on the back of this whole conversation, finding remedies for drug addicts in showbiz. But before I even get to talk to him, before I open up the conversation, let me welcome into the studio Apostle Daniel Kobe Kelvin Washington. The name is long, sometimes I forget some. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great. And then let me say hi to Nana Kofi Boachi answer the second, aka Beats Menace. Nana Onkwaso.
Boko. Na onso e.
Me won ye ba na me ka se Onkwaso house boko. Beast Menace is an audio engineer and a creative entrepreneur. He's here with us today. My own uncle is here, Uncle Ken. Hi, Uncle.
Kwame, good afternoon.
You feeling irate?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
I'm good.
Okay, Uncle Ken is a broadcaster with us here at Joy FM. And then I have Dr. E.A. Azusong. He's a psychiatrist and a clinical psychologist. Okay, but before we get deeper into the conversation, let me say hi to Cassie again. Cassie, hi.
You always do it. PDP. PDP.
Do you still use it?
I still use it. It depends on the song. Of course, I can't be doing slow worship and
use it.
Radiate and PDP. No.
So the transformation didn't transform the PDP.
It's still my voice.
Wow, great one there. Now, how's the gospel music thing going with you?
It's going so powerful. Yes, it's really better than before. Yes.
Because I think a few years ago I heard or saw a story that you were complaining when you went to that side, you were not getting the traction and all that. But it's better now, right?
It's better. Yes.
Awesome. But you also said that there was a point in time where you were doing some ungodly things. Which things were those?
Okay, so let me say a very good afternoon to your cherished listeners and to the honorable men here, and I'm so much grateful to be here. Thank you for the opportunity too. So you see, if you don't know Christ, you do a lot of mistakes. Okay. If you don't know Christ, you tend to do a lot of mistakes, and I feel it takes the wise person to understand where he's coming from and to seek Christ and stop doing certain things. When I was back then, I must be frank, because God has saved me.
Exactly.
Yes. So I must be frank. I always say that when a ship is sinking and you are in that particular ship, it will sink with you. That is wherever you find yourself. Secular music itself is not an evil thing to do.
Okay.
But it depends on the kind of words you use. What are you preaching? Are you preaching violence? Are you preaching alcohol? Are you preaching drug? You will get it. And where you get to perform, you most of the times perform at the nightclubs, perform at different places, weddings, and 90% a year, like the nightclubs,
okay,
the evening shows. And you see, the more you go to those places, the more you are tempted to do what they do there. You can't spend the rest
what do they do there?
I'll come to that. Kwame, hold your horses. The more you run to those places, you can't tell me you go to Sodom all the time, and if the angel will not save you, you will not do what they do in Sodom. Definitely one day you do it. You chinko for. We take alcohol there. We take drugs there. We do a lot of stuff there.
Wow.
Because you see, there are certain things that you ultimately for any kind just to go to the nightclub. Some people go there, they say, oh, I don't drink, oh, I can go there. But give yourself some time. You find yourself doing that.
Really?
Yes.
We
used to do tequila.
Don't we have exceptions?
We used to do tequila shots.
There are always outliers, right?
Yes.
There are always exceptions, right?
Well, it depends. Yes. So
which of the things were you doing?
Oh, for me, it wasn't that norm that if I take it, it will make me perform well.
Okay.
It wasn't my part.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't my thing. I just, you see, sometimes it is by choice.
All right.
So in your peer pressure, it is by choice. You want to do it, and you would.
Which one was yours?
I used
it by
to do
choice or by peer pressure?
Many things called alcohol. I used to do them. I used to take tequila shot.
Okay.
And media one soja was what.
What is it,
Tequila fire.
Okay.
You know, when they bring it, like the shots, you need to light it up.
Yeah.
You know, you see that blue aspect of it. You take a lime, you take so. But if you watch me right now, you can't tell, because when God is with you, He's with you 100%. Yes.
Awesome. Did you do weed?
I tried it once.
Okay.
I was listening to the
documentary.
To the documentary, and the one who started talking, he said something. He said when he took it, it was like he was suspended and like an angel. You see, I was like, what is this? The level of highness, forget it. the level of highness, forget it. So that is what makes people, go into it. Unye bida, you doubt it.
Did you do cocaine?
No.
Did you do?
I've never seen that.
Shisha?
Shisha was like the norm.
For you?
Shisha was like the norm.
Wow.
Yes. If you go to Dansuman, you mention Kese, they will tell you.
How did it affect you?
Okay, so it will really affect you emotionally, financially. Yes, emotionally, because you see, sometimes because of anxiety, because when you stand on stage, you feel like, oh, Charlie, me ferry kakra. So,
okay.
When you see the crowd, so you want something to, shade you so that you see them, you just do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, you might say something that when you you regret.
Oh.
Emotionally, it will affect you. When you are alone in your room, it affects you.
Wow.
When you are alone in your room, that is where you know that, I'm alone. But when you go out, because you want applause from people, you just have to high up. And it drains you financially. Skabi na obinya, you tend to invest it back into. If you are doing drugs, you invest it into it.
Whoa.
Yes. So it can't.
Did you have any health problems, challenges?
No.
So how did you get out of it?
By God, by the Holy Spirit.
How did it happen?
Okay, so how did it happen? So there has been a call on my life.
Okay.
Yes, and the mami who say, growing up, like going to church, I get a lot of prophecies. Any church I enter, the mami pam. When I pick the Bible and I want to read, I come across something, the mami pam. So it's in my dreams, and I had personal encounters too. Even when I was doing secular music.
Wow.
So as me, I didn't want to accept it because I was young. I feel like Azonto Fiesta, I was hitting. And my name was everywhere. So I'm like, Fatunche. We want to, pop and have fun. So along the line, the encounter was very strange. It was very like profound and strange. So I had to forgo everything and then accept it, because I was asking myself, if you don't accept it right now, when do you want to accept it? Because do you want to be like Nicodemus before you accept? So I started paying attention. And he so introduced me to a church, BHL, now GDCI. Yes, he introduced me to a church, and kakra. Even when I was there, I know we are kakra.
Oh,
yes,
really? Even when you were there?
Because when you are saved, it doesn't mean everything is pepe.
Oh.
That is why the Bible says that work on your salvation with fear and trembling.
So,
it is something you need to work on it daily.
So the transformation is not an event; it's a gradual process.
It's a gradual process. Until you die, you are working on yourself. You are working. Did
it affect your work, your music career?
It will affect you.
Did it affect yours?
Well, I must say yes.
Was it an inhibition? Like Noah King, he was sacked from work.
Okay, so
because he could not concentrate on the job.
So one of the things is that you will not concentrate. You will not concentrate because let's say we go to the nightclub, we party, we have fun, and you are supposed to go to the studio the following morning. Throughout the time you spend the night, wabre, what you try be wabre. So if you come back home, you can't wake up early in the morning and go. So you need to postpone. Procrastination. You postpone, and the more you postpone, time will not be waiting for you. So before you realize, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, then
Joy 99.7 FM, Mike Kese is here. You know him. He's a former Mentor winner. You won, eh?
Yes, Mentor 4.
Yeah, Mentor 4. And then West Africa. Preacher's Fame West Africa.
Fame, yes.
Exactly. And he's here. He's now a gospel artist. He's out with a new song called Worship Rise. He's here telling us his story, how he got out of drugs, and opening up the conversation for us. We're having a bigger one, finding remedies for drug addicts in showbiz. This is based on our documentary, Creative Addictions. Now, let me go to Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken, so listening to
Kwame, I'm surprised you're coming to me.
No, yeah, I'm not surprised. Listening to Kessie and the documentary, what's your take?
No, I thank you.
Yes.
I particularly wanted to speak about the documentary because I have here, people who can speak more on the matter than I can. People who can profess solutions are here. People who rehabilitate folks are here. People who've been in such situations are also here. So I want to say very well done on the documentary.
To the entire team, yeah.
To the entire team, and particularly
this man here,
and
was the one pushing me, giving me pressure.
Oh, Aden, don't put words in my mouth. And particularly to you, for your effort, because I realized from the documentary that if you had gotten your way, there'll have been a wider variety of creatives.
True.
That you would have featured, other than just musicians per se, or people involved in music per se. That goes to show that those people who volunteered to speak with you, we should be very grateful to for letting us into what actually goes on and what the problem is. So those are my initial comments to congratulate you on it. But I would like to listen to them before I can, say anything meaningful to the conversation.
I agree. Don't you have anything to tell Kessie?
Oh, Kessie. Oh, yes. Kessie, it's not easy for people. I think that when you really mean what you want to do, that's when you can boldly come out and say it in public. Okay? And tell people what you've been through and why you have decided to, move on and get a better life for yourself. If you're not able to do that, and you just come and put something new and tell us, I am now anew, without people knowing what you've been through, I don't think it works. But his works. And then, what is more, he makes good music. He makes good music. So, Kessie, I think I congratulate him, and I think he should keep forging ahead the way he is.
Awesome. Joy 99.7. If you have anything to tell us, 055-11-11997. Talking about finding remedies for drug addicts in showbiz. And I have in the studio Beats Menace, Apostle Kobe Washington. I have Dr. E.A. Azusong and Uncle Ken alongside Mike Kessie. Let me come to you, Apostle. So what was your reaction when you saw the whole documentary?
I fell in love, man. It's so beautiful. I was just like, I wish this should be on Netflix. I wish it was a series. I wish you get more sponsors that you can do it more in depth, even taking it to the schools, to churches, because the schools, because there's no subject on addiction. Yeah, there's no subject. They will teach you math, they will teach you English, but they don't know that there's one subject that can end or eradicate everything. All the school fees, all the hours of studies will mean nothing if that is not taught. So I'm praying for you that God will lead you, because I felt like it was just a beautiful interview, documentary. Even the videoing. I mean, you did a very good job, and it shouldn't end. If it ends, then that will be another error that we normally do in Ghana. We start something very good, so it should be continuing. Go to schools, play it for the students, and ask them, what do you think about this?
You're a man of God, eh?
I'm prophesying.
It appears you know the plan already.
No, because I'm here to confirm what God has told you.
You see, I was looking.
Yeah, I saw that.
My Buddhist face.
So when I finish, I'm taking offering and tithe.
Or has somebody hacked into?
Kessie is here to.
Has
They
somebody
raise the
hacked
worship.
into our WhatsApp chat and other things?
No, God.
You have to raise the worship.
You raise the worship. Just raise the worship and then we go. That's it. I finished preaching.
That's it.
Sermon is over.
Awesome. So there is something in the offing, and I'm very sure almost everybody here will be involved in one way or the other.
Yeah.
You said it right. We need to amplify this. You know, it should go beyond just the
Go
documentary
beyond,
and the
go
studio
beyond.
discussion.
I
and-
think
and we're going to do that.
Netflix will be should get involved, and I can see you guys doing this in youth camps.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
youth camps where
Yeah.
youth are camped there for like a week, and they can express themselves. Where I can bring some of my guys and talk to them, tell
Great.
their story.
Great.
And then we will have one-on-one chat counseling sessions and stuff like that. There are things that they will open up to us, they wouldn't open up to their parents.
Exactly.
It will be too much. Because you know where all these things, I can say 99% people become addicted to this mess in school. So when you are sending your child away to school, it's like, it's actually you are giving him away to society.
Yeah.
That's why I love what Rexomar said.
Yeah.
I want to call him Prophet Rexomar.
Rexomar.
Because he is genius. He's a genius. You know, and saying that I will not allow my son to go to a boarding house because the temptation there, I was like, oh my God, this man is too much. You know, that I want my child to be coming home so that if there should be anything, I will see it right there. Every day you seeing your child is very powerful.
It means there is something, there is, let's say, a loophole in the educational system that we must take a look at.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me come to you, Beat Menace, before I come to Doctor for more solutions from.
Yes, sir.
Beat Menace. This is our industry, and I'm very sure you know a lot of creatives in this situation, apart from those who were mentioned in the documentary.
Right.
You know others who are still in the system doing it. Now, looking at the documentary, listening to Kess's story and all that, what do you have to say?
Well, I think it's really empowering that you actually spoke your truth. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think we need to normalize having some of these, conversations. They might not necessarily be the sorts of conversations that would make for dinner parties or whatever, but we need to start normalizing some of these conversations because we have a society of silence, when it comes to a lot of stuff that we do not want to speak about with pride. So you have a lot of people who are suffering, quietly, silently. Unfortunately, this industry is an industry that comes with a lot of vices. Unlike other practitioners where setting policy or setting guidelines are clearly laid down, I mean, it is perfectly normal for somebody to show up at a gig and do certain substances. But even if somebody does that in another area of specialty, they have to do it, in hiding. You know what I mean? I mean, there are clear rules when it comes to driving. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you don't have that same level of discipline or implementation in the creative space. Now, in our part of the world where we do not have a lot of sustainable structure for creative industries, you'd find out that a lot of people are also pushed to engaging in some of these vices as a result of failed expectations. So it becomes like a crux, or it becomes a way of escapism. You understand? So there are lots of, it's a multifaceted issue. And I'm super excited to hear that this doesn't just end with the documentary, but it's going to be actually a campaign, which I remember when I was quite young, there was a campaign that was running for a number of years, send a girl child to school, send a girl child to school. We need a similar approach, with issues of this nature, because I think we also need to start having conversations about family systems and structures as well. Okay, because I think when somebody refuses, for instance, to send their child to the boarding school, you are not solving the problem. You're sidelining it. Not everyone has the luxury of not going to the boarding school. So I think it is integral that people need to bear a certain sense of responsibility. And now it must come from the family unit, it must come from the extended family support system, and from the communities themselves. You need to instill an anchor in children. I went to the boarding school. Okay, I stood the chance of actually getting swayed to try to smoke, but I didn't. But I came from a background where, you know, my dad initially was a chronic smoker, somebody who did like between 8 to 12 packets of cigarettes a day. You know, so it's all a thing. It's a thing about choice and instilling an anchor in kids who very likely have the tendency to rebel. But also there's a direct correlation. It's very interesting. I can't wait to hear Doc's take on this. But research has proven time and again that a lot of people, a lot of young kids who engage in vices do it as a means to seek attention. Okay, so there's a psychological aspect of that as well. You understand? And we come from a society where we sort of normalize the practice of, okay, elsemi juma na minyesika na metia school fees and my responsibility ends. That's just not it. You know what I mean? So there are lots of issues that compound. Okay, and I think collectively as a community, as a society, we have a lot of healing to do. A lot of people walk around with all sorts of traumas, and these things manifest in different ways. You understand what I mean? And it's crazy. Creative people are very emotional people. You know, I saw somebody post something and that said, it was on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I laughed. I think I even reposted it and I tweeted it and people were laughing about it. But if you think about it, it's true. From a medical standpoint, they said the human is like 60+% water, right? And we are not different from cucumbers. The only thing is that we just walk around. Essentially, we are cucumbers with mental issues and emotions. And it was super funny. I mean, if you thought about it, you know. But I mean, if you think about even our makeup biologically, you have the human brain, which is just goo, secreting all these sorts of chemicals and whatnot. And certain conditions, certain situations might suppress the creation of certain chemicals, and that affects the body over others. So if somebody sniffs some hard drug and they get like a rush of serotonin or whatever chemicals, in the absence of that, something has got to replace it.
All right.
Okay? We don't have too many recreational centers in Ghana. We don't even have parks for kids to play. All these things affect you mentally. God created humans on earth given certain conditions. And then obi koto asasia. Now we chat in Now a 70 form home. It affects you mentally.
Yeah.
That's why when you go to rehab centers, you go to certain recreational centers around the world, you know, there's a balance between vegetation and all these urban structures. All these things have to count for something. You can't live in a concrete jungle. There's a reason why there's a saying that you kill the last tree, the last man dies. All these things have psychological implications on the masses. Shall even the grass, the lawns lining our streets, you know, if you even keep them there. If you think I'm lying, when you are really up against the grain, when you are tired of the whole Accra lifestyle, being stuck in traffic or whatever, Charlie, take a trip, take a hike up the mountains. You would see how your entire demeanor changes. Your emotions shift. Energy. Yeah, it's an energy thing. These things have psychological implications we can't take for granted. You understand? So, Charlie, there are lots of aspects to it. On the educational front, everyone is learning math, science. They say STEM. But you're taking out art. Apart from the fact that it is heavily supported by research, that creating avenues for kids, especially in their formative years, to engage in creative arts and crafts, it sort of encourages left hemisphere, right hemisphere brain development.
That's true.
And problem-solving abilities. There are larger implications down the line. People are not exposed to these things at a basic level, primary, secondary, primary, junior high, senior high. At some point in life, you encounter certain circumstances and you do not have the ability to actually critically think, navigate your way to solve such problems. They are directly related. There's a program I'm a part of. I'm doing with a colleague of mine, and it's research. Okay, we're using one of the basic schools around the Teshi area.
Okay.
And what we are essentially doing is teaching music education and technology to kids, under-resourced, overpopulated basic school systems. The idea is to find unique ways of tailoring some of these global concepts to local communities, so it can be decentralized any part in any part of the world, whether it's the favelas in Brazil, whether it's the slums in somewhere in Tishi or wherever, like any part of the world. The core idea is to research and find creative ways of tailoring some of these modules to communities and localizing it in their language. You understand? Now, for kids who were not necessarily book smart, after 3 months, there was an immense improvement in their cognitive abilities, in their overall confidence to express themselves and to create. You understand?
Interesting.
So these things are all related. They are all, you can't separate
them.
Yeah, you can't separate them.
Wow. Joy 99.7 FM, Showbiz A to Z, and we're having a conversation on our Creative Addictions documentary. Today we are finding remedies for drug addicts and showbiz. Now, let me get to Dr. E.A. Azusong. Doc, now we are coming to you.
Please elaborate on the
yes, I tell you.
Now we are coming to you. So we've been talking about drug addiction, how do we get out of it, and all that. In a nutshell, with all the examples that we've had, you've seen Nasty, you've seen Noah King, OJ Black, and all these people. After all the talk, how do we get these people out of the situation? Somebody who is out there now in the creative industry who is struggling so hard to get out of the addiction.
Yeah. So first of all, I would want to say that this is a very good program.
Yeah.
And the documentary was well done, and very good job done. But before I give solutions as to how we can get people out of addiction, I would first of all want to make certain things very clear to the general public.
Don't worry.
That when we talk about, there is drug use, there is drug abuse, then there is now drug dependence.
Okay.
We no more use the term addiction, because addiction is derogatory.
Oh, wow.
And it connotes a negative perception.
Wow.
So we no more use that term.
Addiction.
So now, when you talk about drug use, we are talking about use of substance. You have a headache. You come to the doctor gives you paracetamol. That's a drug.
Yeah.
You have whatever problem it is. A doctor diagnoses you and gives you medicinal THC. That's a drug.
Okay.
That's a substance.
Yeah.
Right? Again, then we talk about drug abuse.
Okay.
That is when you use the drugs or the substances for purposes for which they have not been designed for. Particularly prescribed. And sometimes non-prescribed. And so a lady comes and says that, oh, I have not had my menses in about 2 weeks, 3 months. And then his colleague tells him that, oh, all you need to do is to mix paracetamol and Coca-Cola and tomato sauce and all of that. That's an abuse. The paracetamol is not meant for what you are using it for. You understand? And so that's the second thing. Then the third thing is now what we use, which is no more drug addiction, but drug dependence. substance dependence, where before we say that somebody has a substance dependence, you need to meet a certain criteria. You know, you cannot tell me, oh, I have fever, and because you have fever, it is malaria. No, it could be anything that can cause fever. You know, and so with regards to what he was talking about, remember how he said that sometimes you go into the clubhouse, you say, I am not going to use it, and you were trying to defend them. We're like, oh, they are outliers. They are outliers. Yes, they are outliers. But then, the more you go into the club, the more your tendency of use increases because you are exposed to it and you are seeing it. And there comes in the first one, which is the impulse, loss of impulse control, loss of impulse. So you see it, Charlie, make a try 'em. For whatever reasons, a lot of people start the use of substances for various reasons. You understand? In the documentary, somebody said it was for an experimental use. Someone said it was just out of curiosity because he saw the security man using it and decided that let me go and try it. In other cases, which is in the majority of cases, it is peer pressure, where Apostle was talking about it happening in our schools. And so we have the use of the substance, but then to make the diagnosis of substance dependence, and I would underline again the word substance, right? Because if you come to the clinic, we would first of all find out what substance you are dependent to. Somebody can be using a cocktail of substances, but may be dependent on only one of them. If you are dependent on only one of them, the effects it has on you is going to be different from if another person is dependent on a different substance. And so we talk of crack, we talk of THC, we talk of pethidine, paracetamol. You understand? This is a painkiller. Everybody knows it, everybody uses it. We talk of blue, diazepam, tramadol. You understand what I'm trying to say? So there is a whole list of substances that anybody can get dependent to. And depending on the substance that you are dependent to, that would be tailor your treatment. So this, yeah, Uncle Ken, you can come in.
Yes,
but
I want to just ask. You mentioned paracetamol, paracetamol, and I just want to know whether paracetamol is the base pain reliever that medics always, prescribe.
Yes. It is a yes and no, actually, because sometimes to relieve the pain, we may ask you to do environmental or social things in order for you to relieve the pain. It is not all pain that is relieved by prescription of medications. Of drug. And so paracetamol is not necessarily the baseline, but we commonly prescribe it because it is readily available. Then again, we have ibuprofen, and then we have the other painkillers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, and so we are talking about someone who is substance dependent on a particular substance. The person has lost the control of his use. He has lost the control of his use, impaired control. I cannot determine when I want to drink alcohol. I cannot determine how much alcohol I would drink. I cannot determine the frequency at which I would drink the alcohol. And that's what we are talking about, impaired control. Then the second one is that the person needs to be having some form of social impairments. We are talking about substance dependence, and it is very important that we make these technical distinctions. Right? And not overly demonize alcohol or overly demonize
marijuana.
THC. Because we can have people who are dependent on Coca-Cola. You understand what I'm trying to say? And so I'm bringing this so that we get the general perspective of what this is. So that it is not that the mere fact that KD, I like to call him KD, Kwame Dadzie.
Yeah.
The mere fact that KD is using alcohol means that KD is dependent on alcohol or is addicted to alcohol. That is not the case. And so the mere fact that he was taking tequila shots in the club did not mean that whatever problems you may be having were as a result of the tequila shots that he was taking. I wanted to, you understand what I'm trying to say. So social impairments, we are talking about your inability to function. And when we say your inability to function, we are talking about 4 main domains. You may have problems in functioning in your family. So, mother to child, father to child, father and mother. And so when the man who was doing the documentary came in and saw, you realize that there was a breakdown in the family.
Yeah.
The woman did not just get up and pack the things and left. There were issues that were already boiling, and it had reached its boiling point, and that is how come she packed and left. So we are talking about poor functioning in the family system, poor functioning in society, right? Your interpersonal relationship with other people have been impaired. Then occupational functioning, where you have a difficulty in contributing to wherever you have been assigned a job. And so this is very key. And you saw in the documentary that apparently he was relieved of his job. You understand?
Dr. Zoo.
You know? So this is the impairments that we are talking about. Then the third criteria is that the person uses the substances despite risk to him or herself. And so you asked him a particular question, which I would want to highlight. That did you have any effect from the medication in terms of your physical? You understand?
Health complications.
You understand? We have people who the doctor has told you that, hey, Mejafo, you have liver cirrhosis. Or to it, your liver is failing. But Mejafo, sorry, you know that this is what is happening, but you are still going to the bar. We have situations that you have gotten bankrupt to the extent that you cannot even pay your debts. But yet when you get up, you go to a different bar and go and borrow to take one shot. You understand? You know that you are going to maybe drive from Accra to Kumasi as a driver. But because you are dependent on it, you still go ahead and take the shots, which would impair certain functioning. That's the third criteria in order for us to say that somebody is dependent on a substance. Then the last criteria is that, which we usually say, cluster it as the pharmacological criteria, where we are talking about 2 things in here. Take note. Tolerance to the use of the substance. So, you have been using a particular amount of the substance and you get your high. But this time around, when I use the same amount, I am no more getting that high again, Charlie. So I have to top up. You have been using a particular medication to relieve you of the pain. But this time around, when I use it, I don't feel it anymore. So now I have to go to its big brother. And that's the tolerance we are talking about. Then the last thing is withdrawal, where without the substance, you experience certain negative feelings and emotions. You understand what I'm trying to say? So these are the things that we talk about for us to be able to say that, yes, somebody is dependent on a substance. And we were talking about why is it that KD would get dependent and Apostle would not get dependent?
Exactly. Big question.
You understand? Because Apostle is an anointed man of God. You know, it varies and is individual dependent. It's individual dependent, and it may based on your genetics.
Okay.
Because for some people, they may easily get malaria, yet other people may not easily get malaria. I liked what KSM said, that yes, when you take the substance, you do get results. And so it is not actually a misconception that when you take cannabis sativa, you will get high and you'll be able to perform on stage.
It is true.
Because chemically, the cannabis sativa will provoke and induce what my brother was talking about. Certain neurotransmitters that gives you high energy. Certain neurotransmitters that makes you feel a bit of a disinhibition. And so you are able to approach things that hitherto you could not approach. But with time, and that's the positive reinforcement bit of it. So you take it, you get this. You take it, you get this. But what they do not know is that there are minor, the more you use it, the more you are exposed to it, there is what we call neuroplasticity, which happens. So in your brain, certain chemicals begin to deplete. Certain neurons begin to change. And so with time, if you do not use it, you experience withdrawal symptoms. And the withdrawal symptoms then become negative emotional states.
Okay.
So you are not using the cannabis, you get anxious, you get irritable.
Wow.
You are not using the alcohol, you begin to experience tremors. You understand? And these withdrawal symptoms, they start slow, they go slow, and it takes a very slow time before they go away.
Wow.
And so this time around, you are no more using it because you want to get high, but you are now using it because you want to get away certain negative symptoms that you are experiencing. And that's when we talk about negative reinforcement. And so there is a whole stage of it. Who said cheer? So these are the things that we are talking about. Now, to conclude that, what can we do about this to get people out of it? What I would say is that it is not as easy as ABC. And if I do sit here and tell you that you need to do ABC in order for you to get out of it, then I would be lying. And Apostle would tell you, you need to be assessed.
So the individual can't assess.
You need to be assessed. So it's
by a professional.
Yes, by a professional. A professional needs to assess you to determine that this is where you are.
Okay.
To determine that in your dependence, you are having an intoxication problem, you are having a withdrawal problem. It is this particular substance that you are dependent on because you may not know. And that is why I would always say that we should not be afraid, we should not fear or be stigmatized by walking into any psychiatric facility to say
At
that.
At what time do I enter that place?
These were the things I was talking about, that you realize that you are using but you can stop using.
Okay.
You realize that it is impairing your functioning.
Okay.
You understand? These are the things. And even when you are in doubt, come to Chosen Rehab. They have doctors there.
Yeah.
You understand? They will tell you that, Charlie, my brother, this is what you need to do. It is not everything that sometimes you need to go to rehab. If you have to go to rehab, they'll tell you that, you need to come to rehab. You understand?
Exactly.
If you have to do a detoxification, they'll tell you need to do a detoxification. If you have to do an OPD counseling, they will tell you that you need to do an OPD counseling.
Quick one. Isn't denial part of the process for most people who tend to be reliant or dependent on certain substances? So now, for listeners or people who are more at risk, what sorts of fail-safes would you advise or suggest so that people have some form of personal audit, so to speak, to know that perhaps I'm in denial, but if A and B are clearly showing, or this is how I'm feeling, what do I need to do? Is that something you can touch on?
Yes.
And I love how you've broken everything down. I'm learning a lot. Thank you.
And it brings us to being self-aware, being aware of ourselves. And when I say being aware of ourselves, I am talking about knowing who you are and your thoughts, the kind of thoughts you have. Knowing who you are and the kind of emotions you have. Knowing who you are and the kind of contributions you give at the job. Right? And also having a good social support system.
Okay.
Where your social support system understands you and is aware of who you are. Right? If you are self-aware and you do a self-introspection and know that there is a particular problem with regards to how my output at work has been. KD speaks to the producer, and the producer honestly tells him that I think that there is a decrease in output of your work. Maybe something is amiss somewhere. I do not probably know what it is. But could we consult? And once you meet the professional, and I repeat, once you meet the professional, we would always have a way of helping you come out of that denial stage. A lot of people who are dependent on alcohol do know that, yes, they are dependent on alcohol because they would have bickering problems with their partners or whoever, their parents or whoever. And so they themselves, they know. And that was what he was talking about, that when you are alone in your room, that is when you realize that, yes, you are alone.
Wow.
And they do know. And so this is also very important, that we have good social support system, able to identify that, Charlie, of late, KD, the way I join Ukraine, you think like, yeah, Jesus Christ, but we all know who you are. We know you don't even go to church, so, you know.
How do we demystify the whole idea of going to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist? People think we do that and it's boredom.
Yep, yeah. A very good question. And I would want to say that by telling you what mental health is. Being in a good mental health state, what that means is that being able to cope with the normal stresses of life, and contribute meaningfully to society. Now the question is, and I asked the general public and viewers and listeners, are you able to cope with the stresses of life?
I go explain to you.
You understand? Are you contributing meaningfully to society? And that is why there is this popular saying that, Obia bodan wonumu.
Kakra.
Enye kakra. Why are you sugarcoating it and saying, you are sugarcoating it and saying, kakra wonumu? You understand? It is about time as a country we shift the conversation to letting people understand that mental health matters.
Good.
And that there is no health without mental health. You may think that physically, you're fine. But mentally, up there, not everything is going on well. And so that is why it shouldn't be a problem for you to walk into Chosen Realm and say, Charlie, do you have a clinical psychologist here? I want to just talk to somebody.
Good.
You understand?
Good.
Anyone who even loses a partner, loses a parent, you understand? That's a stressor. You need somebody to help you cope with it. Helping that person to cope with you, that is a mental illness. You understand what I'm trying to say? You are currently in a mental breakdown and you need somebody to help you cope with that. But as a country, as a people, we think and paint the picture that Abadamni, the person who has naked himself and walking on the street with bushy hair like this own, or no, now bodam. But little do they know that even the man is specs sitting out decently.
Tell them.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Little do they know that he is the one who actually needs mental health care, and so it's very important that listeners. So I'm happy to be part of this.
Thank you very much for that education. Take a rest. Yes, take a rest. Let me go around. Let me start with Bitmenis. What does this mean to talent managers, especially those who handle these talents? For example, you have a talent who is going through all these drug dependency issues. How do you handle that as a talent manager? You deal with most of these people.
But
I mean, you deal with talents most times.
I say all the time that talent management is being the best advocate for the person in question, and also being a parent figure, and an uncle. You understand? I mean, there are too many examples I can give about a lot of talented people who went off the rails when certain persons who were very important in their personal lives and careers, stopped working with them, or maybe they had some sort of fracas, or maybe they died, and I mean, it's not just even a Ghana story, I think these are very important things that need to be addressed. It was really lovely hearing Doc speak, because he raised a lot of very poignant issues. And a couple of years ago, I was speaking with a friend who, I don't know how true it is, but I mean, from some of the things he said, I'm beginning to see a pattern here. He did mention that back in the day, before we became really westernized and adopted a very nuclear approach to family systems, we had more of a communal approach to sort of cushioning some of these personal burdens. And so poor mental health states were not as common as they are today. Okay, so we have a lot of economic challenges, there are a lot of expectations, especially with people living in a lot of urban areas. But even in the rural areas, you still have a lot of alcohol dependencies and all these things. And so, like I did mention earlier, I said, I mentioned support systems, family systems, I mentioned environmental factors as well. And also trauma, escapism. And so managing talent, I think we need to really try and develop a personal relationship with people we work with. It shouldn't just be business all the time. Sometimes you should be able to assess, the demeanor, the vibe, and even the energy somebody exudes to realize that, no, something just doesn't make sense. I've been in situations where I had to call off certain things, or to redirect the approach to maybe a project that was being done, because I realized that maybe pushing maybe a singer, a writer, or an artist in a certain direction would serve as a catharsis to let them speak about things that they wouldn't have ordinarily felt to express, and that's also healing. Sometimes you need to get some of these stuff out. It's an integral part of what I do when it even comes to songwriting. And some of these projects may not necessarily even see a release date, because I realize that it serves a much larger purpose to heal.
Wow.
So you write what you're feeling at a certain point in time. Write it on a piece of paper, because you can't discuss it with anybody. And if it means after a while you get all that energy out and just burn it, it helps. You feel like you're letting go of something. And I think also, it's so easy to say forgive and forget, but I believe when people carry a lot of baggage at some point in time, Charlie pendrive nebeyama, ube bodam, I think we also take a lot of things to heart, and eventually it burns you. There was this book I was reading on like ancient African proverbs, and I saw something from, I think, some part of Eastern Africa that said, no matter the aggression, the anger you keep in your chest, you know, go fi boyam. So just let it go. It was very funny. Some of these things, when it translates to English, it loses some of the potency. It was quite funny, but it carried a lot of weight. So I think a lot of community-based institutions need to take on bigger responsibilities. Especially because as a people, collectively, we are evolving. Our way of lives have changed. We've become very westernized, in certain circumstances. Back in the day, Uti, family house, you have your uncles, you have your aunts, you have your cousins, and you would find somebody to discuss or bounce some of these ideas off of. Or somebody will be closer to you, or might be noticing you from afar and realize that starting 2 weeks ago, something is not quite right with this person. And some sort of intervention might happen, which was why me personally, I voiced my feelings. I'm not slandering anybody, but I was very disappointed when the Pentecost Church wanted to set up, a prison. And I voiced it out, and I said I felt it was idiocy. Because I feel there are better areas that institutions like the church, especially because as a people, we've become very religious. I think there are certain institutions must prioritize in our society.
Sure.
That's all I have to say. But Charlie, thanks again, Doc. You'll be too much.
Okay. Before I come to Uncle Ken, let me come to you, Kessie. When Doc was talking, you were paying attention. Did you find yourself in his theories?
Well, he said we shouldn't use the word
Addiction. Dependence, rather.
So I kept on smiling when he was talking, and I love the fact that he made mention of two things. He said it goes slowly. I can't promise you, but it goes slowly. And then the second thing too is that you made mention about the fact that aside the slowly, you said
so with regards to the slow, where I was talking about the slow, I was talking about withdrawing from the substances.
Yes.
So let's say that you have taken alcohol for a very long time. Now you are experiencing the withdrawal symptoms of the alcohol. The withdrawal symptoms go slowly, they rise slowly. They stay with you slowly, you understand, before they get away.
Out.
And so because of that prolonged period, you would want to take to get rid of that. And so when you take the substance, that feeling goes away.
Good.
And that is what is now going to motivate you to go and take the alcohol or the cannabis. But at the beginning, when you started using the alcohol or the cannabis, it was for a positive reinforcement.
Good.
It was for a positive benefit. It was for because I want to get high. I want to be able to do something. But with time, it becomes what we call a negative reinforcement, where it is to prevent an aversive stimulus.
Good.
It is to prevent. That's the point I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the point I was making.
Wow.
African.
You also said something about your reference to the tequila. And it got me a bit puzzled because Doc made a point about the fact that your intake of tequila, as you came out to say that you felt it was one of your reasons for getting into the state that you were, Doc said that could possibly not have been abuse. And it got me wondering because I said to myself, the man himself is saying he's referencing his intake of tequila.
Exactly.
So,
but Doc is saying that could possibly not have been. So I wanted a little,
Did you get there? Did you get to the dependency level?
So I want to hit straight to the point because you see, and I'll connect it to the Bible. Of course,
this is not to cut you. This is not to cut you. But this is what we do in the consulting room.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Where if you say something that we are, we want to probe further and find out.
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm trying to say? And so if you noticed when you were talking, some of the words you were swallowing them a bit. And KD was trying to push you. I was saying, but this time around, hit the shots.
Okay, so the reason why I made emphasis on what you said was that aside the slowly, you said something that the professional you need to see.
Yes.
So to me, I feel sometimes it is way beyond what we feel like it is peer pressure and all that. You try it and all that. We should also think about the spiritual aspects too.
Oh, there is a spiritual side to it.
Yes, there's a spiritual side to it. It's like a family inheritance. It's deeper than what sometimes we think.
Wow.
So you can if anybody is listening, you can sit down, think through, go back. Utimu say something that your father used to do, you are doing it. Something that your mother used to do, you are doing. If it is not alcohol, maybe womanizing, you are doing it. It is a generational bomb.
Is it not a nature theory? Is it not a nature theory? Is it not that rather? Maybe environment.
It is good to be carnal, but sometimes we have to be spiritual too. You see, if I'm taking you to the Bible, Abraham lied, Isaac lied, Jacob lied, the same kind of lie. You see, so when it comes to things like this, fine, peer pressure can make you get involved into it, and sometimes things that you not think about are the things that will be eating you up. So think about the spiritual aspect.
So there could be spiritual
yes
influences.
It is not there could be.
There is.
Most at times.
Wow.
Most at times. So it is good to go see dog and but there are deeper things that man can solve.
I'll come to you, Apostle. Is that why you have a church in your rehab?
Yeah, our rehab is a faith-based rehabilitation center. We practice all the medical, we have a psychiatrist, everything we do, but we believe that most of it is spiritual. So I agree with you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it is God that gives you the power to
Doc is looking
will.
at you. The science people are doubting.
You see, when you finish with Doc,
yes,
then Doc normally hands you over to us.
Okay.
So that we can also take you through deliverance and the word of God, which that is what you are going to live upon. And well, Doc will do his work. Doc will continue to counsel you day by day. But you need to now encourage yourself in the Lord, because there's nothing else out there. I mean, the spirituality, we can't take that for granted. You see, if you are a person that can really examine yourself well, you can see that at a certain age, you start behaving like your father. Even that father that you are not connected to, but if your mother should tell you his lifestyle, you will find yourself that there's a familiar spirit that have already dealt with your father in the past, and that spirit is coming around you to tell you that, listen, I dealt with your father. It's in the Bible. What David was not able to conquer with the lust of the flesh with women, that's the same thing that got Solomon. So yeah, it's important that we work with the three, which is medical, spiritual,
okay.
And then we also look at somebody's physical being. I think
I'll come to you, but Doc, is drug dependency, is it genetic?
Yeah, so I am very glad, I need to say, that this conversation is coming on national,
radio,
national media and the national platform. That the way that Apostle and Minister Kessie are thinking, this is the general view of a lot of Ghanaians, right? And I dare say that, many years ago, 50, 70, 100 years ago, if you had a child who was 2 years and 3 years old, and the child begins to have a convulsion, Uncle Ken, when a winning kakra, with a catcher, at that time, at that time they will say that, akolano ye bosomba. It's a spirit, it's a spirit. Yeah. Today, science has told us that convulsion will give the person medication. We find the cause of the convulsion, and the cause of the convulsion can vary, can be numerous. But until you find the cause of that convulsion, you would not be able to treat the person. But 50, 70 years ago, they would have said that the cause is spirit. Now, fast forward to today. If 50, 70 years ago, Uncle Ken tells me that I would be in London in 5 hours' time, Ombeka said, no, you understand? But today we are here, and tomorrow I can be speaking to you from London. Did I vanish? Did I disappear? Good. And that is the importance of the knowledge that which God has given to us. That God has said that, Apostle, I have created you in the image and likeness of man. However, I have given to you, each of you, a talent. That talent, each of you would not be able to possess these. But as a group, fast forward in James, he tells us that we are all together supposed to enrich our individual talent for the general good of all. And that is why, to Kessie, he has given him the talent of music.
Yeah.
So that when I go to work, and I am so stressed, I listen to his worship.
Right.
And I am in the spirit. And to me, God has given me that part of his wisdom, which is to be able to decipher that this person that is today saying that I can hear voices in my hometown talk to me, right? Which now, in our current dispensation, we will describe it as auditory hallucinations.
Okay.
And not what? Spiritual. And without the knowledge that which God has given me, that I went to further studies about this, for which I wouldn't have known.
Okay.
And that was why when Daniel, Meshach, and Abednego were praying, they said that, I pray to be able to understand literature and decipher all forms of literature. It is not everybody who will be able to understand sociology, at the same time understand medicine, at the same time understand what? IT. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that is why I am bringing this up. And so now, to come back to the question with regards to,
is it genetic?
Is it spiritual?
Is it spiritual?
And he's saying that most of it is spiritual.
Okay.
And that was why I said that the causative is multifaceted.
Okay.
And it is individual dependent.
Okay.
You understand? I repeat, it's individual dependent. It's multifactorial. And because of its multifactorial nature, I cannot come and say that your own is spiritual until I speak to you individually and go in depth into it.
Okay.
And now, let me come back to what Apostle said, that you would find out that your father did it, you are doing it, and he said, it is likely a familial spirit be that has gone into you. In our current dispensation, what literature has taught us is that process of gathering that information to find out that it is because of something that has happened in the past that is now currently happening. That's what we call now psychodynamic psychotherapy or psychoanalytic psychotherapy. And I would want listeners to listen to Google. Just Google.
Okay.
Knowledge now is free and on the internet.
Sure.
But if you do not go to the proper source, you may not be able to identify it. And so if it is something that is happening, that has happened in the past, that is beginning to now manifest, whatever the pastor may be doing to try and bring that information to bear now is a form of psychotherapy. Is a form of mental support. And a lot of our pastors these days, most pastors, you would not go to seminary without doing a course in counseling.
Okay.
You understand what I'm trying to say? You will not come out as a proper pastor if you have not properly gone through the counseling course. You understand? And so that is why I'm saying that it is not all the time spiritual, but again, it is multifactorial.
Okay.
But the spiritual aspect is also important, because if you come to me and you are a Christian, the mental health professional who is treating you will treat you with your faith in mind, with your culture in mind. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If you come to me and you are a Buddhist, I'm not going to tell you that you need to pray to God to let it come out. That is not professional of me. You understand? In this, our current cosmopolitan dispensation, where you have so many people from different backgrounds and things, a professional, and I repeat, who understand the ethics of the profession, would not be attending to a Buddhist and tell the person that you need to go and see your pastor for your pastor to pray for you. But if it is a Christian who believes and professes that faith, then we would come and do that. And that is why if you go to the professional, the management is always biopsychosocial.
Biopsychosocial. Biological.
And with the biopsychosocial, I am talking about we'll talk to you kakra. We'll tell you to go and see spirit kakra. You understand what I'm trying to say? And that was why Apostle said, when we do all the things, in the end, we still ask Apostle to come and help us. You understand what I'm trying to say? And if you meet a proper apostle, a proper pastor, the pastor would also obey any dia kakra. Now I catch her say, oh, professional kakra.
Thank you very much. A good one there. Apostle, he was mentioning the fact that, okay, there are people from different religious backgrounds. So when they come to your place, are they made to toe the Christian line, or you can decide not to be part of the Christian worship?
So the Muslims we have at Chosen Rehab are all fasting and praying. And we respect their religion, their choice of religion. And it being faith-based rehabilitation center doesn't, limit you to, we don't force you to follow that. But it's been happening that people, after a while, and just like what Doc said, the community, the society where you belong, it has an influence. It influences you.
Sure.
So if you go out with alcoholics all the time, before you realize you are sipping some shandy, then you go to a club, and then you go to Alomo. Before you realize you have graduated, you are high there. So it can also happen that just because, I don't know which Alomo is higher, but I don't. So what I'm trying to say is that the environment, your community, that's why you see the problem we are facing in Ghana is that there is not, after the rehabilitation, what is next? That is my problem. Because those of us that you've traveled a little bit, you can see that when somebody leaves a rehab, they can easily get a job at McDonald's. They can get a job at Burger King. They can get a job at KFC. But do we do the same thing here? Or we stigmatize and we tell them this person cannot be accepted. So the addict that is doing no more addict. The drug dependent person who needs to have a new what do you call it? New life or new people around him. Maybe they work he has no job, walks through Accra, drops CVs everywhere, and nobody will accept him. And at the end of the day, he said, let me go to the people that accepts me. And that could easily be the ghetto or the drinking bar. So he goes there to say Charlie to his old buddies. And then the buddies are like, hey, you're looking very good. Can we welcome you with just one sip?
Is that one of the factors for relapse?
That's it. So if the society is not ready to embrace the dependent, ex-dependent, or the rehabilitant, then he goes back. Because everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to go to where they are easily embraced. You feel loved. You don't feel judged. So, so when it comes to musicians, I also want to chip in this, that I think that if you write any song that was influenced by any substance, in the future, you will not be proud of that song. Because in the future, when you mature, you'll be like, I remember this song. I was very high when I was writing it. And definitely the things that you were writing about, you are not going to be proud about it. You are not going to be proud. You cannot even play those songs for your kids. Think about the songs we are writing today. Can you, in 50 years, no, 50 is too much, 20 years, can you call your children and ask them, come and dance to this? They will say no. I remember, I also want to chip in this, that music itself is also a drug. Yeah, it's a free drug that you can just get on your Apple Play, and then based on the mood you want to be in, if you want to be high or low, you can choose a certain kind of music that will let you feel a certain way. So the person writing the song also wants to feel a certain way. So like, let me say Red Eye, because everybody knows Red Eye came to Chosen. When he came to the rehab, after the detox, the counseling session and everything, the next thing that we could give him that will help him to go through his withdrawals was another drug, which is music.
Okay.
So he was very nauseous, feeling bad, angry. But when we put him behind the mixer board, put him behind
and because
the
you have a
keyboard,
music recording studio at the rehab center.
The guy was doing days. He didn't know where the withdrawals went to.
Wow.
Now all of a sudden he's in there, he has done a beat and he's rapping on the beat. Now the energy has changed. It's another drug. We are giving him a new drug.
Yeah.
So we need to see that musicians. Okay, let me say this: if an artist writes a song, most of the time, 99%, they don't even like to hear their own voices. They don't, I don't know.
You can relate, eh?
I don't know. You want to hear. I don't know who I don't know your level. Yeah, but you want to hear. Okay, what is Sarkodie doing now? How did he rap this latest song that everybody's talking about? So you easily get bored with yourself. That is where the dependence of drugs come in. Like you hear that, if you smoke a bit, you'll be able to go above your limits, because the artist writes in a certain way, and whatever you are writing that you think is new, you can easily reference it to some old song that you did, and you hate that. Am I not repeating myself?
You don't want to be repetitive.
I'm just repeating. Even if you're a sound engineer or you're a beat maker, why am I using the same snare? All my songs have the same snare. That alone can cause somebody to say, let me go and smoke something. And
you need to be more creative.
To be more creative too. Because the things that you are enjoying now, somebody was in a high state. I mean, today's music you listen to, there's no way you can tell me that all these guys were not on drugs when they were in a studio, because even if they are writing about a song about help the poor in Africa, they will mention something that has nothing to do with the chorus to do. And I know that they are high on something. So like Lil Wayne will say he doesn't write. There's somebody told that we've heard that you've written 1,000 songs. They said, nah. He said, it's a lie. I have 1,000 songs, but I never wrote one of them. So when I get into the studio, based on the mood, then I rap. Whether the chorus is about Save Ghana or Save Africa,
It's called Vibes and Inshallah.
Yeah. So music is also another drug which you can use to help people. If you don't want somebody to be running around town, just get them involved in music, because when you sit behind the beats, I mean, Beats Menace is here. He cooks beats every 5 minutes. It will take you hours, because we are working with frequencies. Even frequency is a drug. Bass is a drug. Bass. That's why our kids are on the trap beats. It's a drug. It just makes you feel something. So all these things are in there, and I thank God for. Yeah. Unless you ask me questions right now.
No, I'll come to you. I'll come to how you get people out of the situation at your rehab center. But let me go to Uncle Ken. He's listened to most of you speak, from Kessie to Dog to you to Beats Menace. Uncle Ken.
Kwame, I have enjoyed the conversation like I thought I would.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly what I thought. But I first of all want to ask
Doc, Apostle.
How is the center funded?
Okay, so we charge for our services, and then we have free, promotion, people that we sponsor. When we have space, we go to the ghettos ourselves.
Do the people live there?
They live there. Yeah.
They live there. Yeah. You feed them there?
Yeah, feed everything.
Okay. That's fine.
So we take from the rich and
so it means that
Robin Hood.
It means that you need a lot more funding to be able to do things the way you expect things to run. Fair enough. Kwame, another thing I gathered from the documentary. I want to go back. Was the fact that the doctor you spoke to in the documentary,
Julius Hatcher,
actually stressed the point about alcohol.
Yes.
Being a very dangerous drug. He stressed on that.
Yes. He
in fact, that was his first mention when you asked him about the drugs that
are commonly
used. His first one was alcohol. And that is why I have always been on the side of the FDA in that battle with you guys about celebrities endorsing alcohol. That's one of the reasons why I've been on the side of the FDA. and will always remain on the side of the NDA. Because you see, the dangerous thing about alcohol is the fact that it's not regulated. When you buy a pack of cigarettes, you see underneath it, cigarette smoking is harmful to your health, but they're still selling it to you. They're still selling it to you, and they tell you underneath it, see, even with the alcohol, doc, they also tell you that, thank you.
Drink responsibly.
They even tell you drink responsibly, but they do not prevent you from drinking it. So, you see, when we discuss this matter, there are certain things in the public system that needs to be looked at seriously because it does not help. If it's a free rein for anybody above the age of 18 to drink, and you only tell him to be responsible, are you always going to be there to supervise his drinking habits and that kind of thing? I find it very, 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 very serious that in all what we talk about, if we don't look at these things seriously, they would escalate the problem. Because like we all know, the kids of today are a different breed. When I was growing up, my parents thought we were of a different breed altogether because they thought we were wild. Oh, I'm telling you. Yes, yes, it was then. It was swinging 60s and, you know, those times. Our parents thought we were the worst creators on this earth. But as times have evolved, exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the youth of today and I say to myself, blimey, if my mom was alive today, what would she say of her grandchildren? You know what I mean? So it's a very serious matter, and congratulations to you guys for doing what you're doing. You know, I just hope that some good fortune from somewhere befalls you, you know, so that you can be able to keep doing what you're trying to do. Because the state itself will not go as far as you are going in trying to deal with the problem. You see, this is where my fear is. And that's why I asked about the funding, because if the funding is not enough, somewhere along the line, you'll fall short of what you want to do. And people who have been addicted, you say we shouldn't use the word, but people who have been dependent on drugs for so long come to you for help. And then halfway along the line, things do not go, they would go back to where they came from.
Yeah, Doc, I'm not cutting you. We went bankrupt.
Look at that.
Time. I mean, we've been doing this thing for 15 years. But at a certain time, we just had to shut down. Me and my wife took our bags to Sweden. So like,
oh, you left it?
Yeah, we left it. We left it for Archbishop Duncan Williams.
Okay.
Wow.
So we moved all the people, and we gave the rehab to Action Chapel. That's what became Compassion Rehab, because I didn't have the money, and I was tired of begging. I was tired of, you know, I think before we shut down, the only good thing that I can say, one of the good things that happened, was Vodafone that saw the importance of our existence. So they were sponsoring us with a bus and some refreshments to go to the schools. So we're going to schools and we're holding a campaign that we call Say No to Drugs and Alcohol, and with a big Vodafone logo. But all those people are no more in power. So now these new kids that have come, the ones in charge, they don't see the use of it. So I think that was one of the important things that we did. And a lot of students were advised, let me say so, that these guys who are speaking, like people like Noah Keane and all these people, they were on stage talking to all these people. And they realized that, wow, so this educated, you know, Ghana, we think that everybody naked in the streets is an illiterate.
Yeah.
Or is possessed. But when they realized that, no, these guys really can flow. They are educated. Somebody was going to be a doctor, but because of drugs, fell out.
Wow.
Somebody was, all of this. I believe we've saved a lot of people by doing that, and then some church programs that we went to. So I really understand that we will need funding. So when we came back from Sweden, me and my wife, we decided that now this is what we are going to do. The free people, we will help the free people. But then we will need to balance it, because like overseas, when I travel, I volunteer at different rehabs. And it's so beautiful how their system is. A guy will just walk in a rehab. You log in his name into the system. Boom. Within 30 days, government pays the rehab.
Whoa.
Because that is his responsibility. So you don't even have to talk finances with the guy. Everything is, the system is working. So the guys can stop. But now, sometimes when we are full up and we don't have food, I'll tell you, Charlie, I better go. This way you have to believe God. Go and try it on yourself. Go and try it. Because
so what do? You let them go back to their...
Sometimes I have to let them go.
Yeah.
Because I can't. If not, we'll go bankrupt again. And this is why my wife is not coming to Ghana. I say, Charlie, that has sleep. Charlie. Yeah, because it was difficult. All our money was going for 10 years. That's what we did. 10 years. So this is the first 5 years that we can say that now we are seeing money coming. So people come to you and they say, oh, but chosen 10 years ago it was free. I say, yeah, it was free. And that's why we had 180 people.
Wow.
But now we have
how many people do you have?
Now we are managing 60, 50 quality.
And they are able to pay.
Yeah. Some people, not everybody. You have tomato sellers and Kobe sellers. You have to cut everybody's coats according to what they can afford.
Wow.
See, this is just Accra.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And we also have Accra Psychiatry Hospital Rehab Center. We have Pantine Rehab Center. We have Compassion Rehab Center.
Okay.
You know, all of them are situated in Accra. In Kumasi, there is only one rehab center.
Only one?
And apart from Kumasi, that we have one rehab center. I don't know of any rehab center anymore in the country.
Well, we've just started.
You understand?
We have a branch.
You have a branch?
In Kumasi.
No,
that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
Our branch. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know of any other. You get what I'm trying to say. And so the challenge is neck deep than we are.
I don't know why
this is
our
worth
government don't look
talking
into this
about.
area.
You see, but I also wanted to say something with regards to when you were talking about.
Excuse me, Uncle Ken, are you done with your point?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Let's flow.
Yeah. When you were talking about drug, the music itself is a drug.
Yeah.
And that brings me to the point where we're talking about the individualized care. For some, the music would work, is the drug. And for others, it is not the music. For others, it is just driving to a brewery and looking at the beautiful scenery.
Okay.
You understand? And for another person, is going to play football. For another person, is playing video game. And so, if you don't come to a professional for us to assess you, to be able to find out what your drug is, it will be difficult for us to just, cut everybody.
Wow. Beats Menace, do you have anything to say to this one before we go for a break?
I wanted to dovetail off something Uncle Ken said, specifically with regards to the FDA ban on alcohol.
Yeah.
I was one of the people who was opposed to the approach in which, like the way it was handled.
Yeah.
Primarily because the definition of celebrity is very arbitrary. Okay. I felt it was a very simplistic approach to solving a rather simple yet an easy problem to solve. Here's why. If I'm a Sarkodie, for instance, or a Shatawale, the ban affects me. But it doesn't affect some girl or some guy who has 30 million followers on Instagram.
Okay.
And whose reach actually surpasses Sarkodie.
Okay.
So it becomes unconstitutional, first and foremost. Secondly, that's the first point.
A celebrity? The one who has that reach you're talking about?
She may not be described as a celebrity.
I had some interactions with them, with one of the organizations I co-founded.
They are on Instagram. I don't know them. I know Sarkodie.
No, they have
so
followers.
Other people don't
They
know
have people
them.
who have even more followers than...
A celebrity?
Yes, technically.
Ah, well, okay.
As per their definition, because she has a wide reach, or he has a wide reach.
Okay.
So they are affecting younger people who have access to data and smartphones, right? Second problem, we have the Advertisers Association of Ghana. Third problem, we have the Ghana Media Commission, right? In the same way, it will be unethical for me to advertise Star Beer or Adonko Bitters in the daytime when kids have left school and are watching their favorite cartoons. It's supposed to be shown after hours. These laws exist. They are not enforced in Ghana. So choosing and handpicking specific people, because they are the people you can directly reach to punish them instead of you doing your work, is problematic. Secondly, the FDA actually allows these beverages, they have to be stamped. They have the FDA logo on there. To be sold into the country. So it means somebody there is not doing their job. You shouldn't punish people unreasonably for you failing to fulfill your duty. You understand? And this is a problem we have in Ghana, generally speaking. We like to have very half-baked solutions
to problems,
or measures instead of properly solving like prevalent problems.
I get it.
You, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's just something I needed to chime in.
Joy 99.7 FM still here on Showbiz A to Z, and we're having a very good convo on drug dependency. Let me put it that way. This is on our documentary Creative, but our documentary title cannot change now. It is still Creative Addictions.
Another point that I will chip in.
Okay, quickly before we go.
It's like when you, I mean, the system. It's also about the system sentencing people to prison for using or for being dependent on drugs. I don't think you are helping the person, and I wish like we had time, like Doc will touch on that, because it's not right. I'm sick, because addiction is part of sickness. I'm ill, and yes, fine, you caught me. Can you help me instead of jailing me? And then I will go into the cell or prison and learn about hard drugs. Harder, that would be the right word. And then I'll become a hardened criminal, because now I know society has rejected me. So you see, the addict, the dependent, his mind is like we against them.
Okay.
The non-dependent, they are against us, and we are against them. So what we do is to try and bridge that. No, we are not coming here. We don't come to the ghetto to come and arrest you. We don't come to the ghetto with police to come and arrest you. But we have come here. We thank God that you are all gathered here, so we can come and fetch you, because these are the same people that will pickpocket your phone. They will jump into your house because the mentality is like, these people hate us. They are doing well, and we are not doing well. We are suffering. And who likes to suffer alone? Nobody likes to suffer alone. So if the whole Ghana has to go down, let's all of us go down. So we need to bridge that thing.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. Joy 99.7 FM. We're back shortly.
Roverman Productions, in partnership with National Theatre and Joy FM, present an original Igbo White play, Dubai on No 6.
Barney, darling, do you know where Simon and Diva went for their annual vacation?
To Dubai.
Oh, so you know. And the year before that's the way the
Caribbeans.
Where have you been on vacation with me, your wife?
Ajwa, you and I have been at Kwewu for Easter.
Kwewu.
Winneba for Abuache. Elmina for Bakatu.
Elmina.
And we have been at Keta for...
Barnabas.
We are also regular at Homo.
Shows on March 29th, 30th, 31st, and April 1st, Phase 6 and 7. Time, Fridays at 7 p.m. Saturdays, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Sundays, 1 p.m., 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. And a special showing on Easter Monday at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Rate 200 Ghana cedis. Get your tickets on the Cobra Short code *365*535# and at all regular outlets. Call 059-6922-040. WhatsApp 050-554-6030. Sponsors: Gino Tomato Mix, TCB Bank Limited, and M Notified. Roverman Productions. Be the difference.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, Just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Introducing Pick 4 from Game Park Games, the easiest lottery to play and win. Pick 4 numbers from 0 to 9 up to 3 times a day to become one of our daily winners. More moolah, more power. Play online at www.gameparkgames.com or dial *946# to play. Game Park Games is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Pick 4 from Game Park Games. More moolah, more power.
Still radio on Joe 99.7 FM, Showbiz A to Z, having this great conversation on drug dependency based on our documentary, Creative Addictions. And I guess you've enjoyed yourself so far. Very insightful discussion here. Dr. Azu is here with us, a psychiatrist and clinical psychologist. We have Apostle Kobe Washington, CEO of Chosen Rehab Center. Uncle Ken is a broadcaster at the multimedia group Joy 99.7 FM. We have Beat Menace, Kofi Wajiansa, and then Mike Kesse is a musician. In the meantime, it's a new world of doing business, and your business shouldn't be left out. It's time to get a Momo for business today to accept payment for over 15 million Momo customers. So all you need to do is a business registration certificate and your Ghana card. Applying to be MTN Momo merchant has been made simple and fast. You just have to dial *5051# and follow the prompt to apply online at momomerchantapplication.mtn.com.gh, and you'll receive a reference number which you can use to track your application. So don't get caught waiting. Enjoy your secure and convenient transactions from your business and MTN Momo today. So note that the application is free. Do not pay any money to anyone for a merchant payment solution. Report any fraudulent charges using the Momo app available on Play Store and App Store. What if I told you that 10 Ghana cedis can get you free concert tickets and shopping vouchers worth up to 500 Ghana cedis to shop at Malcolm or get some buckets of juicy chicken at KFC every week? Here is what to do. Very simple. Stick 10 Ghana cedis or more in the Game Park game, pick 1 or pick 4 lottery to be entered into a weekly Saturday raffle for a chance to win in the Mola promo. Regardless of your outcome or the outcome of your stake, you can still win a voucher for yourself. Vouchers are limited, so play more to increase your chances. And remember to watch the Saturday promo draw on Dome TV at 6 p.m. Dial *946# or visit www.gameparkgames.com to play now. Terms and conditions apply. Game Park Games, more Mula, more power. Now, are you ready for a blast of your lifetime? Get ready to be part of the newest and ultimate game show on Joy Prime this April. Family Arena is fun, it's tricky, it's diverse, it's hilarious, and it will blow your mind. Join the train and win cash and amazing prizes. To participate, send your family name and first names of your team members to our WhatsApp number 0551575757. Again, 0551575757 for details. Family Arena coming soon on Joy Prime, your ultimate TV experience. Now you know there is more to everything than meets the eye. You need to be very, very particular about your religious side, yeah? After all, we've mentioned that even with drug dependency, there is a spiritual aspect to it. Why are you not going to church tomorrow? But in case you can't go to church tomorrow, tune into Joy 99.7 FM. It's always a Pentecost hour with Apostle Nyameche, who is the chairman of the Church of Pentecost. Apostle Eric Nyameche. He's on tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. On Mondays at 5:30 a.m. And then on Saturdays at 7 a.m. on Joy Prime TV. But on Mondays, he's on Hits FM. So tune in Sundays, Mondays, Saturdays as Apostle Nyameche brings you life transforming truth that nourishes the soul, ignites passion, and restores hope in the nations. Church of Pentecost, we are possessing the nations for the Lord. And we are also possessing the creative industry for the Lord. Hallelujah, everybody. Okay, so in our bid to help get a remedy for the creatives who are into drug dependency, Apostle Washington, you have a rehab center, and I want you to walk us through what you do to get them this remedy.
Okay, so it's basically this, that when they come in, you take them to the clinic side.
Okay.
So we will have to test them to know what kind of drugs they were dependent on.
Okay.
And then during that session, there's a psychiatric that will also take him through some
Wow.
questions. What do you do when? Well, there are some people that comes in right after Christmas.
Right after Christmas.
Yeah, because any festive, what they call festive time, or Easter,
Yeah.
or birthday, anytime there's a celebration. They have to go in. So those people like that can come in either before any celebration. And listen, anytime there's a celebration, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. So I'm coming in the rehab. I'm coming in the center for help. So that's where Doc and his team comes in. And then they will pass on the information to me that, hey, Apostle, this guy.
So wait, so they want to escape the temptation?
Yeah, some people want to escape it because it costs them. It costs you a lot coming out. Going in is just like
so that place is a
sleep.
haven. It's
a safe haven for them.
You saving yourself from getting into
trouble until you build that inner tenacity to be able to say that, oh yeah, it's Christmas, so what? It's my birthday, and so what? I've gotten 10,000 Ghana cedis in my pocket. So because somebody, when he has money, that means it's time to smoke or gambling.
Wow.
Some people, right now we are taking in gamblers. People who are just coming in, they are highly addicted to gambling. Because now it's on their phone. You are googling information, and then by the side something bet something. They are all over the place. And then you are giving your last dime away.
So betting
it's a drug.
Is a drug.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please, is radio presentation a drug too?
It is a drug.
Is radio presentation a drug?
It gives you a high.
Yeah.
What about the writing of stories? So that I can have an excuse to go off for 1 month.
Kwame.
Anything. Okay.
Kwame, when I come and sit behind the concert,
yes,
playing music to my audience,
yes,
it's a drug, man.
Yeah.
The high it gives me.
Oh yeah, I usually feel it through your presentation when I'm listening from home.
Yes,
yes.
The high it gives me is something else.
Those days too. The kind of songs we listen to.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you are driving, it affects your drive.
Right.
Yes.
You want to speed
Yeah,
up.
you want to speed up.
And speed is a drug.
You know, like you want the kind of songs you are listening to.
A song like this one. Like this one.
Potato. Wank. Nyam nyam. I want papi wamp.
Oh, so that was Lil Wayne's song. Was it the one you were making reference to?
There's a lot of these kind of songs.
Yes, boss.
Apostle said something that when before someone writes a song,
yeah,
the kind of level the person goes to,
Mm-hmm.
the realm the kind of realm the person pulls down.
Yeah.
When you are listening to, it will affect you too. So ask yourself, where. That's why we always say music is a spirit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Frequency.
Yes.
As for music,
if you're smoking weed
Yes,
and you don't
and-
have at the background,
Yes.
the weed doesn't take. Listeners, I'm not telling you to do this. I beg you. So somebody will quote me tomorrow. Apostle C. If you smoke it with this, sometimes you'll be preaching good messages,
Yes,
but they
yes,
only
yes.
take the bad part.
Yes.
No, but there's a vibe.
Mhm.
There's a vibe that comes when somebody is doing, marijuana, and there's a reggae music at the background. I mean, the people who have been doing this, they are feeling it.
And the great Bob Marley epitomized that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Even with his album sleeves.
Yeah.
It's on it.
So the music is a drug.
Yeah.
And you are adding a drug to it.
Of course.
To take you to the
Double
level.
drug.
Because you see, you don't want to be at the norm.
You'll be suspending in the air.
You see,
like an
I
engine.
believe that drugs, this thing called drug is
Yeah.
made for great people.
You think so?
Yeah, it's made. I'm thinking
Great-
that way.
great people.
Apostle can be controversial.
Apostle, please explain what you mean by
break it
great
down.
people.
I would say anointed ones.
Anointed.
Yeah, because
So it's only Apostle and Co who are supposed to be taking drugs.
Because he is anointed.
Yes. But you see, the thing is here. Let me give you this story.
Please break it down before somebody takes you out of context.
I'm telling you, my cousin, my cousin,
Yes.
was caught with drugs.
Okay.
That's the job they used to do in Spain.
Yeah.
So he got arrested.
Okay.
With drugs. So there's the lawyer. He got a lawyer, and the lawyer said, "Listen, the only way we can say that the drugs that you were found with is your own for your personal use, then you must have it in your system." So he and his lawyer decided that then I'm going to smoke for 3 days.
Wow.
This guy is not dependent on anything. He sells the drugs in Mallorca. And so 3 days the guy smoked. He smoked. He did everything that one can do. And then later on he went to the clinic and he tested positive. And then the doctor was like, good. And with that test that was printed out, he took it to the court and he stopped drugs right after that without withdrawals. He just felt like he felt nauseous a little bit, like feverish, 1 or 2 days. So then when you compare this to somebody who goes and take it once, and then he gets addicted or he becomes dependent on it, then you will know that until you try it, you don't know. But that's why we say that don't even try
it.
Drugs is so powerful that the eyes shouldn't even see it.
Wow.
Yeah, because the moment you see it, start
You'll be
ministering
tempted
to you.
to. Yeah.
It will start ministering to you that listen, I'm white. I am crystal clear.
Don't you see me?
Yes.
How beautiful I am. I can taste very nice.
So that's why they say it's not even good for the eye to see it.
Good.
So when somebody comes and after they've gone through all of that, then we hand them over for the spiritual side.
Good.
So first medical, then physical. Anybody that uses drugs. Some people even use drugs to lose weight.
Whoa.
Because it's the fastest way. That's why. So if you see girls in a ghetto, this is what they started by thinking I'm going to lose weight because I want something to help me to stop eating. So they start losing weight. They become dependent.
Apostle
on
is not saying the ladies who want to lose weight go
They
to
should
the
go
ghetto.
No, because
he has saved me right now.
Because there are dangerous side effects.
Serious.
So
You
beware
will
of
lose
that.
weight rapidly, but then coming out,
Problem.
you will end up on the streets. There are girls in the ghettos that they are just lying there. Everybody can sleep with them for just something like 15 Ghana cedis, 10 Ghana cedis. And when the street is tired of you. So that's why, at the Women's Center, I hope that one day you do another documentary that you target the women.
The
and
women's
see-
side.
Yeah, we have the Women's Center.
You told me about it.
Yeah, at
Okay.
Domi. The things the women go through is completely different from what the men go through. It's just like two different worlds. How they have to, some of them get pregnant and give birth and then go and sell the baby, all kinds of things. So it's a process. And then after they've done the third, which is the spirituality, now you still have to stay there for you to grow roots. Yeah, to grow roots, because you are just planted now. Now you are free from the drugs, but now, mentally you are not ready. Because there are so many signs. Somebody can just get triggered by seeing a cement bag, the paper, because the drugs that they are selling is so he's in a rehab and we are doing renovation and then there's a cement bag there. It's like, Apostle.
What happened?
Once he's there, no, he has cooked a rap that somebody is dead. I have to go home because he saw cement bag. So you need to work on. What do you do when you see a sachet, this alcohol that is sold in this plastic bag, and you see something that looks like, because just a look, it triggers your imagining, and before you realize you are ready for it. So you don't just relapse when you take the drugs. You relapse when it has taken over your mind and your heart. So relapse is not when you are at the table smoking or when you are in the bunker. It starts because you can think about it and you can start feeling it that, Charlie, I need it now. Take it that you have dealt with.
So can I just come in with I just want
to
add
then when you are done, then Uncle Ken, you join.
So you see, when I was talking about the stages in which the people go to, so first there's positive reinforcement. You are taking it because you want to. Then there's a negative reinforcement. You are taking it because there are certain feelings.
Yes.
You understand. Then the last part, which Apostle was explaining, is what we call conditioned response.
Okay.
And so with the conditioned response, there are certain cues, certain things that you learn now that are associated to whatever you were taking. And so if in your case, you were using cement paper to roll your weed, seeing a cement would trigger you to start having those feelings. And because of the prolonged use, your brain, I was talking about the neurochemical degeneration that has occurred at that particular point in time. You now become hypersensitive to certain things, including the cues. And so once you have the cue, it starts triggering a response of that feeling of high to start with.
Yeah.
But it is not enough to get you there. And so now you need to go and take in order for you to get high.
Wow.
And so that is why it is once again important that when we talk to you about all these things, then we are able to pick up your cues and teach you how you can stay away from the cues and how you can unlearn what you have conditioned to learn. Yeah.
Wow.
That's all.
Uncle Ken. Yes.
I wish this conversation doesn't end.
We are learning a lot.
Yes,
we are learning so much.
Yes. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
And with regards to the remedies, a few years ago on this show, I made a point about the fact that cigarettes smoking in our society was diminishing. A few years ago, at one of our shows, I made that point because I had observed that.
It was here, actually.
It was here?
Yes, it was
because I had observed that I was not seeing
as many people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Big Menace. As many people that when I was growing up, for instance,
yes.
it was a fad.
Yeah.
Having a cigarette on your fingers was seen as hip, and everybody was smoking left, right, center. Everywhere you went, left, right, center, people were smoking. I go to plus 233 quite often, and I hardly see people smoking at plus 233, even today. And that's a joint where people go to relax
and have
listen
fun,
to music, and once upon a time, those were the places you could see cigarettes being sold by vendors outside the premises with hacks. Did you ever meet hacks? The sweet the toffee, the toffee hacks and stuff.
Now it's Tom Tom. Now it's Tom Tom.
you know, you could see everybody sitting out there selling cigarettes because that's where people used to buy. And I asked myself, how did we get rid of cigarette smoking in the society to this level? I keep asking myself. And I'm saying that maybe it was because of what was written on the pack that was being sold.
With a picture of the lung.
Yeah. At the time, cigarette smoking is dangerous.
No, you see, and that brings us to the point you were talking about. If your grandmother sees your grandchildren now, she would say that, "Oma prokra, Kobe." You understand? In this generation, now you would see a lot of youth holding energy drinks.
Okay. Okay.
And that's also dangerous.
But the component of the energy drink and yes, and that is why today we have to investigate what is inside Uncle Ken's bottle.
Thank you. Unfortunately,
he has finished consuming it. Yeah, you finished consuming it. No, he's finished consuming it.
I keep telling you, it's lemonade. It's lemonade.
You see, so Uncle Ken, there has been a change and a shift in the shift system.
Yeah.
And so now they are taking it in the bottles, and then they are taking it in pills. Because those days, cigarette was seen as making people high. Would give you a sense of high. But our generation now, they are seeing it as high.
Ketwa.
There can be something more.
Okay.
And it's so.
So they have graduated actually.
Yes, Kwame, I don't see cigarettes being sold in Ghana these days. The cigarette manufacturing companies that we had
are collapsing.
They've all gone. and there's no cigarette manufacturing company in Ghana. So I suppose all cigarettes that are being sold are imported. You know? And can we do same for alcohol?
Oh, Uncle Ken. Shisha today.
Shisha today come.
And the nitrous oxide.
They have
the balloons.
The balloons and they have the vapes. The vape pens. So some people, it's you see, it's a thing about convenience as well. You know, and also social programming and perception. Okay, the vaping culture has grown immensely in Ghana. You know, where they have these electronic things. They're like pens. They charge them, refill with cartridges, so on and so forth.
It's being bound now overseas.
And shisha. I mean,
what does that do to you? I see pictures on social media of
the shisha.
Even ladies, you know, sitting and comfortably.
And the definition of cool these days is weird. I mean, people can take puffs on that thing, and even when they blow it out, they form patterns. Not why cheap.
So Mike, I thought you were going to answer Uncle Ken when he said, "What does it do to you with the shisha?"
with the shisha, it's they replaced it with the cigarette.
Yes.
Yes. It's not that high, and most people mix it with cannabis.
Okay.
Okay. To get them high. So you can see someone doing shisha, but it is not a real mint. It is they mix it to get them more.
Okay.
And Uncle Ken, that also is another evidence that the generation has graduated.
Exactly.
Because one puff of shisha is equivalent to 20 packs of cigarettes. You understand? Yes.
Seriously, though.
So yes, so shisha has more nicotine. It has more other harmful substances than one cigarette. And also, cigarette.
You meant 20 sticks?
Yes, 20
sticks. Okay, not packs. Sticks.
You see, when the shisha,
just one blow.
Yes. You know. So that's how bad the shisha is. But then, there is no label on the shisha that says that it is dangerous to your lungs. And people have found a creative way of mixing it with strawberry, of mixing it with vanilla.
Wow.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Gives you different flavors.
They've written it on the pack, like on the flavor pack.
Yes, but then people don't see that. It is the one who prepares it.
Who knows it?
That,
because it is brought to you there.
Yes. And they are so creative that, like he's saying, they can add cannabis to it. You know, so it is actually more of a graduation than you know.
Wow. There's one thing that has always, you know, made me so, I don't know the word to use, puzzled. Is some of the terms that are used presently. For instance, when I hear people today use the term, oh, this song is dope.
Yeah, dope.
Okay. I sit back and I say, what do
Why
you
there's
mean
some dope?
Yeah, because back in our days,
dope
meant drug.
But this is a new generation, man.
That's what
Dope means dope.
Yes.
You
So
know,
dope
because
is a slang for
back,
one of the drugs.
Yes, back in our days,
Yeah.
when you used the word dope,
Exactly.
it meant it was.
We've turned
Yes.
everything upside down. When you say
We've turned
the song is
things
mad, it's
No,
mad.
exactly. And that brings us to what Apostle was saying with regards to music is a drug.
Yes.
And that it is making you
So this
high.
is somebody, you know.
As for
smoking
music,
through
I
the
would
nostrils.
Yeah.
Nostrils. This shisha, right? Wow.
That's
Okay. I think we have one message for Uncle Ken. Anita,
says
let me read that. Somebody is saying something
Baby
to
dragon.
Uncle Ken. John 99.7 FM. It says, when I listen to Uncle Ken play the ancient African clinical music, especially by the legendary Fela Anikulapo Kuti, I get relieved because the music is therapeutic. From Philip. Not this Philip. Philip.
But Philip sent me a message this week when I was playing my music. He was listening to me.
And someone says, greetings, great discussion. How I wish every home will own a psychological book. Doc, is it possible?
Oh yeah, it's possible.
Wow.
We should.
Wow. Okay, so let's
Let me
quickly
chip something in. That,
Okay.
You see, everybody that leaves the rehab must have a doc.
Yeah.
Recovery,
Like,
the addiction recovery book.
Yeah, you must have one.
Oh, wow.
And then you also have to have like somebody that checks on you, because it's like you still have to think like you are sick. So we have something we call
Like a sponsor or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, we have something we call non-resident rehabilitation, which you have somebody like Doc calling you twice a week.
Oh.
Yeah, but you see, Doc and Co, they are very expensive. So
Yeah.
So most of them, but I think Doc is very good. This is our Doc. Everybody should contact him because
Mike.
And you also need a Bible.
Oh yes,
Exactly.
obviously.
Most important.
you come to the rehab. No, you come to the rehab with the Bible, and you will go with that Bible.
Wow.
And then we should set up a system. Like we have set up a system that if you leave the rehab, you should come in once a month to be checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
To do a test.
Okay.
Whether you've taken something. So the test valid for like a month.
Great.
So if you've taken something, when you don't come for that test, we know. We say that unless you've traveled out of Ghana or you've relapsed.
Okay.
And then you have one surprise visit.
I
And
see.
they can go through your things.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people don't want to be controlled. But the best way to keep your sobriety, or to enjoy your sobriety, is to have all this, Doc and our people coming to test you. Then you have a guaranteed,
Wow. Okay. Finally, we are taking our final remarks. So Jerry Ajololo, the MC.
The MC.
Oh.
Jerry
Thanks
always
so
listens
much.
to us.
Oh,
And
great,
he sent a
great,
message.
great.
He says,
Please
"Uncle
read
Ken,
it. Let's hear.
although cigarette usage has diminished, the uptake now is in cigars and shisha. The
Okay.
shisha is the deadliest, like Doc was saying.
Mentioned.
Because it could be mixed with so many different things. Yeah.
Okay, let me start. Apostle, are you done with your submissions? Any last words or the way forward? Actually, before we go.
Oh, way forward for musicians is to really get a good manager that has your interest.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you get on the stage and you hype the people, you need. I mean, sometimes you come down. You know when you perform good. And you know when you don't perform well.
Yeah.
You know when you did your best. So if you have somebody who can always motivate you and say, "Listen, you'll do better next time. You don't have to," because artists are very. I believe we are introverts. We are very sensitive.
Most of them are.
Yeah. And then within some few minutes, you are called to be an
in your element.
And then so I remember
be in character.
Michael Jackson was doing his moonwalk.
Yeah.
With what do you call it, Oprah.
Okay.
And he missed one step, just one step. I mean, this guy is really up there, and that broke him down. And I when I look at that interview, that documentary, I know that day he would take 10 pills, not to remember that how could I fail.
They can't forgive themselves for making mistakes.
You can't, because the whole world is looking at you, and that pressure is there. So you always need somebody who knows you well to be able to help you to dodge that feeling.
Thank you, Apostle Kobe Washington. Beats Menace, the way forward.
The way forward. I think this conversation was amazing. I learned a lot. I think it should be the precursor for us to actually normalize these sorts of conversations at home, community centers, and we need to be a lot more intentional about building a society that is a lot more inclusive and one that doesn't demonize. Because I feel that's one of the reasons people keep slipping, So I want us to keep having more and more of these conversations, and I'm super excited you guys doing this as part of a broader campaign.
Exactly.
And thanks for having me. It's been amazing to come back.
Yeah, you should be coming on the way they do it. Doc.
So I just want to remind our listeners that the human body, we have limitless possibilities. We are unable to even reach our limit.
Okay.
And like they always say that our mind and our brain, we have not even been able to use 2% of our brain.
Okay.
For creatives out there, it is the easier way is to take something in order to enhance your performance. But with proper training, with perfect training, right, you can achieve the highest level on your own, with your own body. And let us learn from my favorite, from Ronaldo, who is, the absolute professional and athlete, does not take alcohol, does not take any other thing, but yet is able to perform to the highest level. And so let's learn from this. And to people out there who are dependent on substances, there is a route out. All you need to is to walk into any hospital. You don't even need to know where the psychiatric hospital or whatever it is. Just walk into any psychiatric hospital. They'll give you the referral. They'll tell you where to come. I work at Accra Psychiatric Hospital. You can come there and then meet us.
Great.
And also remember that recovery itself, as we always say in a rehabilitation, it is not a destination, but a journey. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Azu. But when you mentioned you work at Accra Psychiatry, you didn't say you work at Showbiz A to Z, because you are now the official Showbiz A to Z psychiatrist. You've been poached. Actually, this man is going to pay you a lot of money.
Yeah, I hear you.
Let me come to Mike Kessie. Mike, what have you learned from this discussion?
A lot. And before I go, I want to share a quotation to
Please do.
To everyone listening
Please do.
right now. You need to open up to the Holy Spirit.
Great.
If you read Romans chapter 8 verses 11, it says, and if the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living inside of you, he who raised Jesus Christ from the dead will also quicken your mortal bodies.
Great.
If the Holy Spirit is living inside of you, how can the Holy Spirit live inside of you to wipe away all this dependent thing from you? Is by giving your life to Christ Jesus. And if you do that, he's going to take everything away from you and you will turn another man.
Awesome. Do you have any projects apart from the Worship Rise? Do you have any more projects? Any shows, any concerts, any album or EP coming up?
So currently it is I'm working on the Worship
Rise. And great.
Again, I'm working on my album too. So
wonderful.
I'm hoping that by the end of this year, my album will be out. It's called Saved to Save.
Please,
if I'm saved, I also have to
exactly.
save.
Wow. Please pray for us before we leave. Say a prayer
Please
for us.
Save us.
Yes.
Okay, shall we pray?
Let's pray.
Father, we thank you for such a wonderful gathering. Thank you, Spirit of God. Wherever we meet and mention your name, you are in our midst. We pray that anybody listening, if there's someone outside there going through a lot of suicidal thought because of dependency, Spirit of God, we pray that you have the power most of all power. Heal this person in the mighty name of Jesus. As we leave here to our homes too, give us a mind-blowing encounter and help us to love you like never before. In Jesus' name we have prayed with many thanksgiving.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike Cassie, musician, for coming through. It's been awesome having all of you right here. Beats Menace, and to you, Apostle Daniel Kobe Washington, who is the CEO of the Chosen Rehab Center. To you, Dr. E.A. Azusong, psychiatrist and clinical psychologist. A big thank you for coming, our official Showbiz A to Z psychologist. Let me say happy birthday to you. BB mentioned the virus of Radio Gold. Yeah, this one is from Bernard Alote. It's your birthday today. Thank you so much. It's been a great conversation on finding remedies for drug dependence in showbiz. And so please keep your eyes on our social media handles. The Creative Addictions documentary is still flying, and we have a lot to give you with regards to this particular